Hello, I'm Jen from overtheedge.blog, and today I'm sharing a quick video with you to demonstrate flatlock piecing with a serger. First, set up your serger for a flatlock stitch using your manual as your guide. Many sergers have the option of both 2-thread and 3-thread flatlock stitches in both narrow and wide widths. So look at your manual to determine which type of flatlock stitching you can do with your serger. For this demonstration of flatlock piecing, I have my serger set up for a 3-thread narrow flatlock stitch with a stitch length of 2 and a stitch width of 5, which is the widest stitch width that I can do with my serger. And I'm using the clear standard presser foot so that you can easily see what I'm doing. I put aqua thread in my needle, pink thread in my upper looper, and purple thread in my lower looper, and I place different colors of thread in each position so that you can see where each thread ends up in the stitch. In this first example, I'm going to go ahead and place, let me get that sample out of there. I'm going to place 2 pieces of fabric right sides together. I'm going to butt the fabric up next to the blade and under the presser foot. I don't really want to cut anything off. All I'm going to be doing is barely trimming any stray threads that are hanging off the raw edges of my fabric. So I'm going to go ahead and start to serge. So as you can see here, serging from the top side of my fabric, this is what the stitch looks like. You see just a tiny bit of needle thread and the upper looper thread, and a tiny bit of purple here along the edge from the lower looper thread. Flip it over to the back side, you can see a lot of the aqua needle thread, and again just a little bit of that purple thread from the lower looper. So after you've serged your seam, you're going to gently open the 2 pieces of fabric up to create the flat lock stitch. And I'm going to gently pull that, and as I pull, you can see the ladder stitch forming on the right side of my fabric. And that aqua thread there, that is my needle thread that is forming the ladder stitch in this particular flatlock stitch. So if you want to get the ladder stitch on the right side of your fabric, you would serge with the right sides of your fabric together. Now if I flip this over, you can take a look at the back side of that stitch. You can see the loop side, which is the pink thread is our upper looper, and the purple thread, which is making just a little line here, that is your lower looper thread. Alright, so that's an example of serging right sides together. I'm going to set that aside for a minute. I'm going to pick up 2 new squares now, and I'm going to pretend that these 2 pieces of fabric are wrong sides together. And again, I'm going to serge, just skimming the stray threads off of the raw edge of my fabric. Now this time, this is the right side of my fabric that is showing. So when I open this up, I'm going to keep the loop side up as I pull my seam open. And there you can see now I have the loop side of this stitch on the right side of my fabric. So it really depends on the type of quilt you're making and which part of this stitch you would like to see in your quilt. This would be the loop side of the stitch, and this would be the ladder side of the stitch. Now that I have 2 pieces that have been flat locked, I'm going to go ahead and take those 2 pieces and flat lock those together. So I'm going to put them right sides together, and I'm going to go ahead and serge 1 more seam. Let's take and open that up and see what we have. Ta-da! And now we have what's beginning to look like a quilt block that we flat lock pieced together with our serger. Pretty cool, huh? Well, if you're interested in this and this inspires you to do more with your serger, check out my blog at www.overtheedge.blog. I have a post out there called Flatlock Piecing with Your Serger, and I have some examples of some quilts that I've made, which I think are quite beautiful. And Let me know what you think. Thanks for checking it out. Happy serging. Bye-bye.